my grandma works here, my sister worked here, and now I work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of the just talking to people today. Part of what I'm struck by is, I mean, it's of course it's billed as like a family play, but it really is like a family tradition.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved initially?
Through camp was like my first interaction, and when they built the new Y, my grandma kind of pushed all of us to get memberships. She still works here, and so she kind of pushed us. But then I always was a camper at Algonquin. My sister was too, and then I just kind of went up through their programs and started working there.
And you work here as well?
Yeah, I work here as well at the front desk.
So Algonquin, we were speaking to Hannah.
Yep.
About Algonquin, and she was talking a little bit about how she got involved. You start out as a camper and you go that trajectory, and then you're a counselor.
Yeah.
What is your? Do you look forward to summers there? Or?
I do. It's hard because you're gone all summer now.
Yeah.
But like as a camper, I used to go. It was always like the 2 weeks I counted down for every summer, and like there was summer and then there was camp, and that was the better part of summer, obviously. And it's just the environment there is just amazing, and so you just can't wait to go back. And now it's just like working with my best friends and doing something really cool.
Yeah. So. One of the questions I asked Hannah that she's sort of started beginning to talk about is where we, as just more of a generational thing, like kids who are growing up now, even removed from us because we're roughly the same age, but kids who are kind of like 11 and 10 now have been growing up, on where the iPad is their whole life and stuff, with Facebook. They never grew up without Facebook. What do you think that has an effect on kids who come to Algonquin, and how do you think Algonquin serves as sort of a counterweight to
Yeah. Well, we have like a no phones, no technology rule at camp. We let kids have like iPods, but they can't play games on them. It's really just for music. And the no phone thing, I mean, it's surprising how challenging it is for some kids to like give up that phone, and they try and sneak it onto camp like we don't know, but we usually find out. So, but it's great. I mean, I've had kids like 8th graders. I had a cabin of 8th graders who all summer they like brought their phones, and then for this session I like talked to them the first day and kind of got their phones away from them. And one of the kids at the end of the session just said it was like thanked us for doing it, and like thanked us for that policy, and they hate it. They really do. They like can't stand to be disconnected, but it just gets them to interact with each other, and they kind of get back to just, they realize that they build more valuable relationships, and they realize that they're like better friends with people they met over the course of a week, because it's not just somebody they like text randomly, or they like truly talk to these people and do things with them. So
yeah, absolutely. And that goes to kind of one of the things with this project that we're doing, and we're presenting at the Strong Kids campaign, and and we're trying to highlight kind of an individual experiences. The way the Y has been transformative for individuals. Do you find, in your experience as a counselor, have there been any kids in particular whom you see grow in a way that's really striking?
Yeah. I think kind of the case that stands out is this summer I had a kid who, the first day of camp, hated everything. We could get him to like anything. I mean, the kid hated pizza because we were serving pizza. Like, truly just hated anything that had to do with camp, and ran away from me, telling me he hated me and screaming. And then we had to have a lot of conversations with him and really talk to him about like why we're doing what we're doing and why camp is what it is. And then he became like inseparable. I could not, like, he wouldn't let the kids in my cabin talk to me, and he just like truly came around, and he was excited for every activity. He like was looking forward to it, and it was just like he's a kid that never had like one-on-one experiences with like adults and like that have been positive for him. He's never had good experiences with teachers or really even family, like, and he came to camp, and just like we were taking the time to sit with him and to talk to him and get to know him, and like make him realize he's not in trouble, and like we understand why he's upset, and we just want him to have a good time. And just like taking the time, it was a 100% transformation in his behavior. And he would listen, and he was like pushed other kids to listen and do what they need to be doing. So
that's really great.
Yeah.
So in however many, now what's the sort of time span on that?
This was a 1-week session, so
in a week just totally
yeah,
turned around.
in even a few days. And I mean, we had a kid who came for 2. He may have came for 4 weeks, but I think he was there for only 2. Who we actually he's applying to be a CIT now, which is counselor training. And one of his recommendation letters, like he came in and was just defiant and just didn't really want to be there, obviously. And he came through the scholarship program to camp. He'd never had an experience like it before. He made that, like, it was very clear. And I know that, like, we've heard that his teachers say he's, like, focused and he's ready to work every day. And I mean, they've seen an improvement outside of camp just based on his, like, one summer and how he felt at camp. And he just felt, like, really valued. And that's just what we try to do, make every kid, like, one-on-ones with everybody.
What do you think it is specifically about? I mean, talking to a lay person like me, because I've never been to a sleepaway camp in my life.
Yeah.
Probably missed out in ways that I'll only begin to realize on down the line. What does a camp like that do for you as a formative kind of experience?
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was a camper, like, I looked up to the counselors so much, and, like, you kind of look at it now where I am a counselor and say, like, I'm an 18-year-old kid, but, like, you see it's easy for kids to relate to us because we're younger, but we also are having those adult, like, relationships with them, and building positive adult relationships is something that, like, not everybody has had. And, like, most of the kids, like, you know, they're middle schoolers, they don't like their teachers, and they don't like, you know, they hate everybody. But it's easy for them to connect to 18-year-old kids, and we're goofy and we're fun, but we also can have those kind of adult relationships and be the adult. And I think that's something it puts us in a cool position because it's like, it makes me kind of grow up, but do it in a cool way, fun way. But these kids are building relationships finally.
Yeah, I remember middle school as kind of not the greatest time for me or anyone, but kind of a period of, like, heightened self-consciousness.
Yeah.
To say the least. And how do you kind of overcome that in, like, a group situation? Do you find that kids come in and for the most part they leave and they're more respectful to each other when they get out of there?
Yeah, I think part of it's just, like, our staff, it's, like, diverse, but not only in, like, the kind of typical, like, race, religion, all those, like, standard, like, diversity kind of clauses we give, but it's diverse in the sense that, like, we all do different things. There's a staff who are, like, the athletic staff, and there's the people who just want to sit and talk to kids under, like, one of the trees or play cards. And so I think the fact that our staff is so diverse and so loving of each other, like, carries over into the campers' relationships too, because, like, we clearly, like, love working with each other. There's not a person at camp I wouldn't work with, and that's obvious to the kids, I think, and they see us interacting with every type of kid, and I think that it encourages them to, like, reach out and, like, realize they don't have to be friends just with, like, the people who, like, play soccer with them or, you know, are in this activity with them, and they like, push themselves to meet new people. And I think part of the coolest thing is when the campers really value each other, and, like, they're like we at Halloween camp this summer, or this Halloween, not summer. We have, like, the summer, obviously, but then we have a weekend where we take kids out for Halloween and just scare them all weekend. And then we have a weekend, like, 5 days over winter break. They have a winter camp. And so we go to that too. And it's just, like, 20 to 30 kids usually. It's, like, a small group.
Always alums? People in the summer, they come out?
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but kids generally don't start in one of those camps. But, like, when the kids, we scare the kids by making one of them go, like, missing. And so we kind of, like, hid this one girl from the rest of the kids, but they were, like, genuinely so terrified. They're like, she's the sweetest girl, like, she's so nice. And just kids who kind of, like, fit the stereotypical, like, cool middle schooler role, and just kind of, like, ignored this girl, and, like not ignored her, and they weren't rude to her, but, like, they just loved her because she was the quiet kid, and they loved that about her. And so when she went missing, it was like they were terrified.
You have to construct a narrative and things like that. That's yeah. I mean, there's some scary stories, man, in that place. I've never been, but it seems like a pretty. My brother had all these absurd, and I would just imagine like the environment being in that place, a rustic setting,
Yeah.
just elevates the beer factor so